Okay, so one of the things that I have always struggled with is gaining clarity, right? Like you have great ideas, but it's really hard to sift through your ideas, figure out what's important, what's not important. Also, staying on track when you decide to make a decision and you go down that road, and then things get a little more complicated, and then you get in your own head. Anyways, if you struggle with getting in your own head, number one, you're not alone. The most successful entrepreneurs, business people, all of those people deal with the same thing. They've just learned how to control their mind instead of being reactive to their thoughts. And in this video, I'm going to show you a couple cool tips that I've learned to sift through the noise in your head, organize yourself, gain clarity, and ultimately make you more productive because you're focusing on the right things and you're not stuck going from like thing to thing, scenario to scenario. So I'm going to show you a couple things that have worked really well for me, as well as some other entrepreneurs that I've talked to as well. How to think clearly. I'm going to give you 3 steps to clear your head, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how to actually think so that way you can be more productive and achieve your goals faster. So today I just want to talk a little bit about something that I think a lot of people deal with more than they realize, and it's just feeling kind of foggy. Like, you know, something is bothering you, or there's a decision you need to make, or a problem you've been sitting on for a while, but every time you try to actually think it through, you just end up going in circles and repeating these loops in your brain that it seems like you can't even control sometimes. And so your thoughts just start to pile up on each other, and you feel more overwhelmed than when you even started to begin with. And I think the reason most people struggle with this is because they've never really been taught like how to actually think something through. So we've been taught what to think about, but not how to actually process things in a way that actually gets you somewhere, to like an end destination. So today I just want to share 3 things that they've genuinely helped me just cut through that mental fog and get some clarity in my life. So that way I'm able to put myself in a position where I'm able to make those hard decisions. And these aren't complicated at all. They're pretty simple. But simple doesn't necessarily mean they don't work, because they do. But also simple doesn't necessarily mean they're easy either. So all this definitely takes a little bit of getting used to and practice to actually get good at it. So I just want to provide you with the tools. So step 1, and this is by far one of the most helpful things that I have ever started doing, is called brain dumping. So what is this? All you have to do is sit down with a piece of paper or a notes app, pull up a Google document just like this, for example, and write down everything that is in your head. And I mean everything. It's called stream of conscious writing. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. It doesn't have to be organized. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just literally write whatever comes to mind. And the way that you can really juice this up is you can just take time. Like I always do brain dumps in the morning, or whenever I get stuck, whenever I'm working on a project for work or my business, and I hit a mental block and I start realizing that I'm spiraling down that loop and my thoughts aren't actually being productive anymore, and it's making me, it's just the cycle just keeps repeating. There's no way to say it except for that. What I'll do is I'll be like, okay, screw everything for the next 20 minutes, set a timer, and just brain dump. Write as often as you can. Like, try to write for the entire 20 minutes. If you have to use ums, ahs, maybes, I don't know, I don't even know what to write. Shit, what the hell is this? I can't even think straight. I'm in this coffee shop and people are looking at me because I'm typing away on my computer like crazy. Like, that's what you have to do, because what it does is it unloads your brain. So if you put every thought and every worry, everything you feel like you need to do, every question you've been sitting on, every half-formed idea, just dump it all onto a piece of paper or a Google document and just get it out there. And so think of it like this. Your brain, is not great at holding on to a bunch of things at the same time while also trying to analyze them. So it's like trying to sort through a box of stuff while holding the box with like both hands, right? It's impossible. So at some point, you just need to put the box down, and the brain dump is essentially how you put the box down for your brain. So when everything is out in front of you, it stops feeling like this giant overwhelming thing and starts looking more like a list. Or you start sifting through your ideas and you actually find what is like meaningful. You actually find the relief because you're just like emptying your brain, and it actually makes it way more manageable. And most of the time, you will come up with the solutions to your problems by the end of the brain dump. Now, it took me doing this for a couple of weeks to start to get to that point where I was actually like getting results, and I was like, okay, cool, this is what I need to do right now. So this is by far the best thing that you can implement into your life because it will give you so much clarity. You don't need, this isn't some like weird guru self-improvement thing. This is what high-level operators do. CEOs, big important people with projects do this stuff because it works. So when you're overwhelmed or foggy, just sit down and get it all out of your head and onto something, whether it's paper or a Google document. I like to do a Google document because I can type faster than I can write. Don't filter it, just write it. If you want to get a little bit more understanding on this, you can look up what stream of conscious writing is. It's really nothing else except just writing every single thought down on a piece of paper for a set amount of time. That's all stream of conscious writing is. You write every single thing that comes into your head while you're writing, and that's all it is. So, number 2, step 2, you need to go for walks. Like, I know this is super cliche advice, but you need to go for walks with your thoughts. So take the thing that you've been thinking about, the problem, the decision, whatever it is, and bring it with you on a walk. It has to be in nature. It can't be some treadmill thing. I mean, if you have to, like if you're trapped inside and you can't leave, like maybe you have to do a treadmill, but... And real quick, I do want to just be specific. So I'm not just saying go outside and like clear your head. Like bring the problems with you. Think while you're walking. And then sometimes, if you're going to take a longer walk, I like to just walk first before I think about my problem. So that way I can just lower the stress. And there's actually some interesting research on what walking does to the brain. So it puts you in a state that's relaxed, but also alert at the same exact time, which is exactly the right state for working through something. And it's similar to that feeling in the shower or right before you fall asleep, where you suddenly just like kind of like figure something, like it just hits you. And it's usually the same thing with the brain dump. So walking creates that environment on purpose, and there's something about moving your body that loosens up whatever's like feeling stuck mentally. And when you're sitting at a desk just staring at a problem, you tense up, and when your body is in motion, your thoughts tend to just flow more naturally. So also just getting a change of scenery is extremely important for taking yourself out of the state that you're currently in, which is like confused or overwhelmed, and putting yourself in a new state where there's new energy, there's a new environment. State management is crazy. So I do want to say though, like there are a couple rules for this. So number 1, no podcast, no music, just walk and think. If you cannot bring your phone, that is like way better. Maybe bring a notebook. I'm pretty disciplined. I can bring my phone and not like whip on a podcast or like scroll my social media. I always like to bring like my notes, like my phone, just so I have my notes app. But if you are not disciplined, I would highly recommend just like no phone, no nothing. And what I found is that walks don't usually take too long. It's just like a quick like 10 to 20 minute thing. That's usually enough. You don't need to go on like some long hike. Like if you want to exercise, good for you. Go do that. You don't need a destination. Just go for a walk around your neighborhood. Don't overcomplicate it. It's just a walk. It's a simple piece of advice. And I know it can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to having something in your ears or just like you don't walk in general. Like I know like nobody my age walks. But you'd be surprised how often you come back from that walk with just Like your brain is just empty in the most blissful way possible. And so step 3, this one is a little controversial, and this might just be a little bit more for me and the way that I work, but I think that you should talk yourself like through it. Like you should talk to yourself out loud. So like, again, I can't like explain this like too much. Like it is exactly what it sounds like. You're just actually having like a conversation with yourself, talking about a problem. And I know it sounds a little bit weird, but you should definitely hear me out. And because like this is the real reason it works. So when you think through something silently, your brain shortcuts a lot of things, and it fills in gaps, skips steps, makes assumptions without you even realizing it. But when you have to say it out loud, you force yourself to finish the thought and actually properly put it into words and actually articulate your ideas. When it's in your brain, you're not articulating anything. It's just chatter. It's just noise. Especially for those of you who are like me. I was not aware of this. So apparently, there is a pretty large percentage of people who don't have internal chatter in their brain. Like I saw this funny video on Instagram once, and this guy was like, you ever see somebody and it's like he's got nothing going on up there? Well, apparently that's actually like a very common thing. Like there's a good percentage of the population that does not have internal noise. Like my brain is always working. I could just be like my brain is always on. But some people just they don't think. Like it's crazy to me. And so, you know how when you're like explaining a problem to someone else and you just figure it out almost like halfway through, like you're having like, I always have these conversations with my mom and we'll just talk about my problems and she'll just shut up and listen to me and I'll answer my own questions. And that like happens all the time. And the reason is because the other person, or it isn't because the other person said something smart, it's because the act of explaining it forced your thoughts into an order that made the answer actually visible. So you can get that same effect on your own. Here are a couple ways to do it. Just sit somewhere quiet. I always like to talk to myself on my walks. You can do it while you're driving. You can record yourself on your phone and listen back. Another thing I didn't even mention earlier, when you do your brain dumps, I'm going to be honest, I don't do this too often, but this really helps me in the early stages or when I have like a super hard problem to solve. Brain dump, read your brain dump and underline interesting things, especially if you like lack clarity on like things that you could do. So go through your brain dump and actually analyze, underline things that could be potential solutions or thought processes. You're like, ooh, that's an interesting thought. Why did I think that? And then you can ponder on that stuff. Anyways, however you do these, the point is to get the words into the air instead of just keeping them in your head. That's kind of the main premise of all three of these principles, is to just get out of your head and just lower the complexity of your thoughts. Because if you go for a walk, it'll clear your brain, and you might even still be thinking some of the same thoughts, but you're just in a better state to actually deal with those thoughts and work through them. And most of the time it will calm the thoughts and you'll have like less chatter in the head. So quick recap. Brain dump. Get everything out of your head and onto a page so that you can actually see what you're dealing with. Step 2, go for walks. Walk with your thoughts. Okay, so bring a problem with you, or if you don't know what the problem is, just go for a walk, no headphones, no music, let your brain process while your body moves. You would be like dumbfounded at how effective this is. I know, like, watching a YouTube video about a guy telling you how to walk and it'll make you think better. It's like, it has to be obscene. I get it. Okay. Step 3, talk it out loud. Give your thoughts a voice to see what becomes clear when you actually have to say it. So just to conclude, none of these things are complicated and none of them cost anything. They just require you to actually sit with whatever, or walk, with whatever's going on instead of trying to push through it while your brain is still foggy. Clarity usually doesn't come from grinding harder. In fact, it never has come from grinding harder for me. It comes from giving yourself the right conditions to actually think and process. Anyways, I hope this helps a lot. If you've tried these before, or you've got your own thing that helps you to get clear and just lower the resistance in your brain, drop it in the comments. I'm just kind of curious what works for other people. And if you got something out of this, feel free to share it and hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.